Have you ever wondered why someone fell in love with you? What if I told you that the real reason people are attracted to you has almost nothing to do with your appearance, your intelligence, or even your personality? What if the deepest reason you're loved and desired isn't about you at all, but about something ancient and powerful hidden in the other person's unconscious mind? Carl Jung, one of history's most brilliant psychologists, discovered a profound truth about love and attraction that most people never learn. A truth so powerful it explains why some people are magnetically drawn to you while others barely notice you, even when objectively you haven't changed at all. Today I'm going to reveal Jung's discovery about the 2 subconscious triggers that determine who falls in love with you and why. Understanding these triggers will transform how you see every relationship in your life, past, present, and future. If you've ever wondered why someone was intensely attracted to you, if you've ever been confused about why a relationship that started magically suddenly became difficult, if you've ever felt an inexplicable connection to someone you just met, then this video will finally give you the answers you've been seeking. Before we dive deeper, take a moment right now to subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell. We explore these Jungian insights into love and relationships every week, and you won't want to miss our next revelation. The 2 subconscious triggers Jung discovered explain why attraction often feels like fate or destiny, why it feels so much bigger than a simple choice or preference. These triggers operate beneath conscious awareness, which is why so many people describe falling in love as something that happens to them rather than something they choose. I couldn't help it, they say. It just happened. But Jung understood that this mysterious force isn't random or magical. It follows specific psychological patterns that, once you understand them, will make perfect sense of your relationship history. What's most fascinating is that these triggers don't just explain romantic love. They reveal why certain friendships feel so meaningful, why specific mentors change your life, and even why some ideas or creative works speak directly to your soul. Jung's insights offer something rare in our chaotic world, a map to the invisible forces shaping our most important connections. Stay with me because in the next few minutes I'll reveal the first subconscious trigger Jung discovered, and how it might be operating in your relationships right now without your knowledge. But first, let's understand the psychological foundation that makes these triggers so powerful. To understand Jung's discovery about love and attraction, we first need to grasp his revolutionary concept of the unconscious mind. Jung proposed that our psyche has multiple layers. The conscious mind, our thoughts, feelings, and perceptions that we're aware of, is just the tip of the iceberg. Beneath that lies the personal unconscious, containing our forgotten experiences, repressed desires, and unacknowledged aspects of ourselves. But Jung didn't stop there. He proposed something even more profound: the collective unconscious, a deeper layer containing universal human experiences accumulated across generations. This collective unconscious contains what Jung called archetypes, primordial images and patterns that shape our experience in powerful ways we rarely recognize. Are you starting to see how this might impact who loves and desires you? Stay with me because this next part explains why certain people feel inexplicably drawn to you while others don't. Within this framework, Jung discovered that love and attraction operate largely through a psychological mechanism called projection. Projection occurs when we unconsciously transfer aspects of our own psyche onto another person. We literally project parts of ourselves that we don't recognize or acknowledge onto someone else, like a movie projector casting images onto a screen. This is crucial to understand. When someone falls in love with you, they're often not seeing you clearly. They're seeing aspects of their own unconscious projected onto you. This doesn't mean their feelings aren't real. In fact, these projections create some of the most powerful emotional experiences in human life. But it does mean that their attraction is revealing something profound about their own psychology. The first subconscious trigger Jung identified is what he called the anima in men and the animus in women. The anima is the unconscious feminine aspect within a man's psyche. The animus is the unconscious masculine aspect within a woman's psyche. These inner figures develop throughout our lives, beginning with our earliest relationships with parents or caregivers. Here's where it gets fascinating. When a man is powerfully attracted to you, if you're a woman, he's often projecting his anima onto you. When a woman feels drawn to you, if you're a man, she's often projecting her animus onto you. This explains why someone might feel they recognize you or have known you forever when you've just met. They're reconnecting with a familiar inner image that you happen to match in some significant way. If you're finding this insightful, take a second to like this video and share it with someone who might benefit from understanding these deeper dynamics of love and attraction. The anima/animus projection is the first subconscious trigger Jung discovered. It explains the magnetic quality of attraction, why it feels fated rather than chosen. But this projection creates both the most beautiful and most challenging aspects of relationships. When someone projects their anima or animus onto you, they're not seeing you clearly, they're seeing an idealized image from their unconscious. Let's explore what happens when these projections begin to fade. The projection of the anima or animus creates what I call the projection paradox. A fascinating dynamic that explains both the ecstasy of falling in love and the inevitable challenges that follow. When someone first projects their anima or animus onto you, the experience is intoxicating for both of you. They feel they've found their soul mate, their perfect complement, someone who embodies qualities they've been searching for their entire life. For you, being on the receiving end of this projection can feel validating and affirming. Someone sees something special in you, something magical, something extraordinary. Their gaze transforms you. In their eyes, you become more than you thought you were. This explains the euphoria of new relationships, that magical period when everything seems perfect. You're not just experiencing hormones and neurotransmitters, though those are certainly involved. You're experiencing the power of unconscious projection. Are you still with me? Because this next insight explains why relationships that start perfectly often become challenging over time. Here's the paradox. The very projections that create the magic of falling in love inevitably lead to disillusionment. Why? Because no real human being can permanently embody someone else's unconscious ideal. Eventually, the reality of who you actually are begins to break through the projected image. This is why many relationships follow a predictable pattern. Initial idealization followed by disappointment and conflict, sometimes ending in disillusionment and separation. The person who once thought you were perfect now sees your flaws and limitations. The qualities they once admired may begin to irritate them. They might even say, "You've changed," when what's really happened is that their perception has changed as the projection fades. This projection paradox explains why you might be loved and desired intensely by someone, only to have them later seem disappointed or critical of the very same qualities they once adored. If you've experienced this pattern in your relationships, you're not alone. Keep watching, because understanding the second subconscious trigger will help you navigate these challenges more consciously. The key insight is this: being loved through projection is a double-edged sword. It feels wonderful to be seen as special and exceptional. But if the relationship is to mature into something authentic and lasting, both people must eventually see beyond their projections to the real person underneath. This brings us to an important question. If these projections inevitably fade, is lasting love possible? Jung would say yes, but it requires moving from unconscious projection to conscious relationship. It requires seeing the other person as they really are, not as a carrier of your unconscious content. This transition from projected love to conscious love is one of life's most profound psychological challenges. Many relationships end before making this transition, but those that successfully move through it can develop into something far more meaningful and authentic than the initial projection ever offered. Keep watching, because in the next section, I'll reveal Jung's second subconscious trigger for love and desire. One that explains why relationship difficulties often follow predictable patterns. Let's continue our exploration of why you're loved and desired. The second subconscious trigger Jung discovered is even more powerful and more challenging than the first. It involves what Jung called the shadow. The shadow contains all the aspects of ourselves that we've repressed, denied, or rejected. These aren't necessarily negative qualities. They can be positive traits that didn't fit our self-image or weren't valued by our family or culture. For example, a person raised to be logical and practical might repress their creativity and spontaneity. A person raised to be nice and accommodating might repress their assertiveness and ambition. This next insight is crucial, so pay close attention. It explains why you attract certain people and why relationships often become difficult in predictable ways. Jung discovered that we're not just attracted to people who match our anima or animus projections. We're also unconsciously drawn to people who embody our shadow qualities, the repressed aspects of ourselves. This is why the quiet, reserved person often falls for the expressive, outgoing type. The responsible planner is drawn to the spontaneous, free spirit. The analytical thinker is attracted to the intuitive feeler. What's happening in these attractions? We're drawn to people who express the qualities we've rejected or repressed in ourselves. Through loving them, we indirectly reconnect with these disowned aspects of our own psyche. This shadow projection explains why you might be intensely desired by someone who seems completely different from you. They're attracted precisely because you embody qualities they've repressed in themselves. But here's where relationships get complicated. The very qualities that someone initially loves about you, your spontaneity, your ambition, your emotional sensitivity, may later become sources of conflict. Why? because our shadow material is, by definition, unconscious and unintegrated. When we're confronted with it through our partner, it can trigger discomfort, judgment, and even hostility. Have you ever had a partner who seemed to criticize you for the very qualities they were initially attracted to? This paradoxical shift is often shadow projection at work. The person who was drawn to your assertiveness now calls you domineering. The one who loved your sensitivity now finds you too emotional. The one who admired your ambition now complains you're always working. If you're finding these insights valuable, take a moment to like this video and share it with others who might benefit from understanding these deeper relationship dynamics. The shadow projection explains why relationships often become battlegrounds where each person criticizes in the other the very qualities they're unable to acknowledge in themselves. This is the second subconscious trigger Jung discovered. We're attracted to people who embody our shadow qualities. Through loving them, we're unconsciously seeking to reclaim disowned aspects of ourselves. Stay with me because next I'll explain how these two triggers, anima/animus projection and shadow projection, work together to determine who loves and desires you. Understanding these dynamics won't just explain your past relationships. It will transform how you approach future connections. Now that we understand Jung's two subconscious triggers, anima/animus projection and shadow projection, let's explore what this means about why specific people are attracted to you. First, it means that when someone is powerfully attracted to you, they're seeing something significant about themselves reflected in you. You're carrying an important projection for them, either their anima/animus or their shadow, or sometimes both. This doesn't mean their feelings aren't genuine. Projections create some of our most powerful emotional experiences. But it does mean that their attraction reveals as much about their psychology as it does about your qualities. Are you still with me? Because understanding this next point will completely transform how you see yourself in relationships. The specific qualities that make you attractive to different people depend largely on what they've repressed or are seeking to develop in themselves. For example, if you're naturally assertive and confident, you'll likely attract people who have repressed these qualities in themselves. Your confidence resonates with their disowned potential for confidence. If you're emotionally sensitive and empathetic, you'll attract people who have difficulty accessing or expressing these qualities. Your emotional openness connects them with feelings they struggle to acknowledge. This explains why different people see you so differently. One person might be intensely attracted to qualities in you that another person barely notices or even dislikes. It's not that one person is right and the other wrong, they're projecting different unconscious content onto you. This realization can be incredibly liberating. It means that being universally attractive isn't about becoming some idealized perfect person. It's about authentically expressing your unique qualities, knowing that these qualities will resonate powerfully with the unconscious needs of specific others. In other words, your authenticity is magnetic to those who need what you naturally express. If you've been enjoying these insights, make sure you're subscribed to this channel for more explorations of Jungian psychology and its practical applications in relationships. This understanding also helps explain why chemistry is so mysterious and unpredictable. The intensity of attraction depends on the significance of the unconscious material being projected. When someone projects important, highly charged unconscious content onto you, the attraction feels powerful, even overwhelming. When the projection is less significant or less charged, the attraction feels milder. But here's the crucial insight. The qualities that make you attractive to others are often the very qualities you might be insecure about or take for granted. The sensitivity you worry makes you too emotional might be precisely what draws others to you. The analytical mind you fear makes you too intellectual might be exactly what others find fascinating. Your ambition, your creativity, your playfulness, qualities you might downplay or consider flaws, might be the very traits that others find most attractive. Keep watching because next I'll explain how understanding these projections can transform your experience of love and relationships completely. Let's continue exploring why you're loved and desired. Understanding Jung's two subconscious triggers doesn't just explain why you're loved and desired. It offers a path to transforming how you experience love relationships entirely. When you recognize that attraction involves unconscious projection, you can approach relationships with greater awareness and compassion, both for yourself and others. Let's explore how this understanding transforms the three key phases of relationships: initial attraction, the inevitable conflicts, and the potential for mature love. First, initial attraction. When someone is drawn to you, you can appreciate the magic of this connection while recognizing that projections are involved. This doesn't diminish the experience, it adds depth and meaning to it. You can ask yourself, what aspects of themselves might they be seeing in me? What unconscious image might I be matching for them? This curiosity allows you to engage with the projection consciously rather than being unconsciously defined by it. This next insight is crucial for navigating the challenges that inevitably arise in relationships. Are you ready? Second, the conflicts. When difficulties emerge, when the person who once adored you now seems critical or disappointed, you can recognize this as the natural dissolution of projections rather than as personal failure. Their criticism often reveals more about their own unconscious material than about your actual flaws. This doesn't mean you shouldn't listen to feedback or work on yourself, but it does mean you can respond with curiosity rather than defensiveness. When your partner complains about qualities they once loved in you, you might gently ask, "I'm curious, what about this quality triggers such a strong reaction in you?" This invitation to self-reflection can transform conflicts into opportunities for mutual growth. Third, the potential for mature love. Jung believed that projections inevitably dissolve over time, but this doesn't mean love must fade. Instead, it can transform into something more conscious and authentic. Mature love emerges when we can see our partner clearly, beyond our projections, and choose them anyway. It develops when we recognize projections for what they are and take responsibility for our own unconscious material. This kind of love isn't based on the other person fulfilling our unconscious needs or embodying our disowned qualities. It's based on seeing and accepting them as they actually are, with all their human complexities and contradictions. If you're finding these insights valuable for understanding your own relationships, please like this video and share it with others who might benefit. Jung's perspective offers something rare in our culture, a path toward love that grows deeper and richer over time rather than fading when the initial projections dissolve. But this path requires courage. The courage to face your own unconscious material rather than continuing to project it onto others. It requires the willingness to see yourself and your partner more clearly, even when that clarity challenges your comfortable illusions. The reward for this courage is profound. The possibility of a love that's based on truth rather than projection, on conscious choice rather than unconscious compulsion. Keep watching, because in the next section, I'll share practical approaches for recognizing and working with these projections in your own relationships. Let's continue exploring the transformation of love. Now that we understand Jung's two subconscious triggers for love and desire, let's explore practical approaches for working with these insights in your own relationships. First, learn to recognize projections, both yours and others. When you feel an unusually strong attraction or aversion to someone, pause and ask yourself, what might this intense reaction be telling me about my own unconscious? Similarly, when someone seems magnetically drawn to you, consider what projection might be occurring. What qualities in you might be activating their unconscious material? This doesn't mean analyzing everything to death or dismissing genuine connection. It simply means bringing more awareness to the unconscious dynamics that influence attraction. Are you with me? Because this next approach can transform how you handle relationship conflicts. Second, approach criticism and conflict with curiosity rather than defensiveness. When your partner criticizes qualities they once admired in you, recognize this as potential shadow material emerging. Instead of reacting defensively, you might say, "I'm interested in understanding what about this quality triggers such a strong reaction for you. Can you tell me more?" This invitation to reflection can transform arguments into opportunities for deeper understanding and growth, for both of you. Third, reclaim your projections. This means recognizing when you're attributing your own unconscious qualities, positive or negative, to your partner. Ask yourself, what qualities am I most attracted to in my partner? Do I express these qualities in my own life? If not, why not? Similarly, what qualities in my partner irritate me most? Is it possible that these represent disowned aspects of myself? These questions aren't always comfortable, but they're incredibly powerful for personal growth and relationship development. If you're finding value in these insights, make sure you're subscribed to this channel for more explorations of Jungian psychology and relationships. Fourth, support each other's individuation. Jung believed that the ultimate purpose of life is individuation, becoming more fully yourself by integrating conscious and unconscious aspects of your psyche. In healthy relationships, partners support each other's individuation rather than restricting it. They recognize that genuine love doesn't require sacrificing yourself or limiting your growth. Quite the opposite, it creates a safe container for becoming more fully who you are. Fifth, practice seeing your partner clearly, beyond your projections. This doesn't mean becoming hypercritical or focusing on flaws. It means continually updating your mental image of your partner as you learn more about who they actually are. This ongoing commitment to seeing them clearly, and allowing yourself to be seen clearly, creates the foundation for love that deepens rather than diminishes over time. Sixth, appreciate the gift of projection while not becoming trapped in it. The magic of falling in love through projection is one of life's most beautiful experiences. There's no need to analyze it away or become cynical about it. The key is to enjoy this magic while recognizing it for what it is, a temporary but meaningful connection to unconscious aspects of yourself through another person. Keep watching because next I'll explain how these insights apply to different types of relationships in your life. Let's continue exploring these practical approaches. Jung's insights about the two subconscious triggers for love and desire extend far beyond romantic relationships. They help explain significant connections in all areas of life. First, let's consider friendships. Have you ever met someone and felt an immediate sense of connection as if you'd known them for years? Or perhaps you've had friendships that became intensely important for a period of time, then faded or transformed. Jung would say these powerful friendships often involve the same projection mechanisms as romantic attractions. We're drawn to friends who embody qualities we're developing in ourselves or who carry our shadow material. This explains why certain friendships feel so significant, why they change us in profound ways. Through these connections, we're accessing important aspects of our own unconscious. If you're finding these insights illuminating, take a moment now to like this video and share it with someone who might benefit from this deeper understanding of human connection. Next, consider mentors, teachers, and authority figures who've significantly influenced your life. Jung would suggest that these relationships too often involve powerful projections. When you're strongly drawn to a teacher or mentor, you're often projecting aspects of your own wisdom and potential onto them. Their influence isn't just about what they teach you. It's about how they help you recognize and develop qualities that already exist within you. This perspective even extends to your connections with cultural figures, artists, authors, or public personalities. When you feel a powerful resonance with someone you've never met personally, when their work seems to speak directly to your soul, you're often encountering aspects of your own unconscious through them. Their words, images, or ideas act as mirrors, reflecting back parts of yourself that you hadn't fully recognized or articulated. Understanding projection this way transforms how you experience all significant relationships. It doesn't diminish their importance. It adds depth and meaning to these connections by revealing their psychological significance. Are you starting to see how these insights apply to relationships throughout your life? Stay with me because next I'll explain how understanding these projections can transform how you see your past relationships. When you look back at significant relationships through this lens, painful experiences often reveal their purpose. The person who broke your heart, the friendship that ended painfully, the mentor who disappointed you, all were participating in important psychological processes that help shape who you are. Speak with compassionate insight. This doesn't mean the painful experiences weren't real or that hurt feelings weren't valid. But it does mean these experiences served a purpose beyond what was visible at the time. Through these relationships, important unconscious material was being activated and brought into awareness. Even relationships that ended or didn't fulfill their initial promise played their role in your psychological development. They were not failures or mistakes but necessary steps in your journey toward greater wholeness and self-understanding. Keep watching because in our next section, I'll explain how Jung's insights reveal the deepest purpose of love in human life. Let's continue exploring these fascinating connections. Jung's discovery of the two subconscious triggers reveals something profound about the purpose of love in human life. It's not just about reproduction, companionship, or personal happiness, though these are important aspects. At its deepest level, love serves the evolution of consciousness. When we're drawn to another person through anima/animus projection or shadow attraction, we're not just experiencing personal preference. We're participating in a psychological process that's fundamental to human development, both individually and collectively. Through these attractions, unconscious material becomes conscious. Disowned aspects of ourselves are recognized and potentially integrated. Our psychological wholeness increases. In other words, love relationships are not just personal matters, they're vehicles for psychological growth and the expansion of consciousness. This perspective completely transforms how we understand the purpose and meaning of significant relationships in our lives. Are you beginning to see your own relationships differently? Jung proposed that beyond the personal unconscious lies the collective unconscious, a deeper layer containing universal human experiences accumulated across generations. Within this collective unconscious are archetypes, primordial patterns that shape our experience in powerful ways. Among the most significant archetypes is the self, the organizing center of the psyche that encompasses both conscious and unconscious aspects. The self represents our wholeness and completeness, the integration of all aspects of who we are. Jung suggested that the powerful attraction we feel in love isn't just about the other person. It's the self calling to us, using the relationship as a vehicle for our growth and integration. This explains why authentic love relationships often involve experiences that seem to transcend ordinary reality, feelings of timelessness, profound recognition, or a sense that the relationship was somehow meant to be. These aren't just poetic metaphors. They're encounters with archetypal reality, with patterns of meaning that connect us to the collective human experience. If you're finding these insights valuable, please subscribe to this channel for more explorations of Jungian psychology and its applications in everyday life. This evolutionary understanding of love offers something rare in our culture, a perspective that honors both the personal and transpersonal dimensions of human relationships. It recognizes that love isn't just a personal preference or a biological drive. It's a psychological process that serves our individual development and the collective evolution of human consciousness. When you understand love this way, relationships take on a sacred quality. They become not just arrangements for mutual satisfaction, but vehicles for connecting to something larger than yourselves, to the ongoing development of human awareness and potential. This doesn't mean that happiness and pleasure aren't important aspects of relationships. But it does mean that love's deepest purpose goes beyond personal satisfaction to serve psychological growth and development. Keep watching, because in our final section, I'll bring these insights together to reveal why you're truly loved and desired. Let's continue to our concluding insights. We've explored Jung's discovery of the two subconscious triggers for love and attraction: anima/animus projection and shadow projection. Now let's bring these insights together to understand why you're truly loved and desired. First, recognize that your authentic self is naturally magnetic to those who need what you express. The qualities that make you uniquely yourself, including those you might consider flaws or weaknesses, are precisely what draw certain others to you. Your sensitivity, your strength, your analytical mind, your creative spirit, your playfulness, your seriousness, all these qualities resonate with the unconscious needs of specific others. This means you don't need to become someone else to be loved. You don't need to conform to some idealized image of perfection. Your authenticity is your attraction. Isn't this liberating? The very qualities you might hide or downplay could be exactly what others find most compelling about you. Second, understand that being the object of someone's projection is both an opportunity and a responsibility. When someone projects significant unconscious content onto you, they're entrusting you with something precious, aspects of themselves they haven't yet fully recognized or integrated. You can honor this trust by neither rejecting their projection entirely nor accepting it uncritically. Instead, you can hold space for their projection while gently helping them recognize its source within themselves. Third, recognize that the dissolution of projections isn't the end of love but the beginning of its deeper expression. When someone sees beyond their initial projections to who you really are, with all your human complexities and contradictions, and continues to choose you, something profound is happening. This is the transition from projected love to conscious love, from unconscious attraction to deliberate choice. This kind of love doesn't diminish over time. It deepens as both people commit to seeing each other more clearly and supporting each other's growth. Fourth, understand that love's deepest purpose is mutual individuation, becoming more fully yourselves through relationship. In healthy connections, both people support each other's authentic development rather than requiring each other to remain fixed in predetermined roles. If these insights have helped you see your relationships differently, please like this video and share it with others who might benefit from this deeper understanding of love and attraction. Finally, recognize that your capacity to love consciously is something you develop throughout life. It's not an automatic ability but a psychological achievement that grows through self-awareness, courage, and the willingness to face your own unconscious material. The more you understand your own projections and reclaim your own disowned qualities, the more clearly you can see others. And the more clearly you can see others, the more authentic your love becomes. This journey toward conscious love isn't easy. It requires ongoing psychological work and self-reflection. But the reward is immense. The possibility of connections that support your authentic development rather than restricting it, that deepen rather than diminish over time. Jung's insights reveal that you're loved and desired not despite your human complexities but because of them. Your unique combination of qualities, your strengths and vulnerabilities, your gifts and challenges, creates a psychological signature that resonates powerfully with the unconscious needs of specific others. As you move forward with this understanding, approach your relationships with greater curiosity and compassion, both for yourself and others. Recognize projections for what they are, neither rejecting them entirely nor becoming defined by them. Remember that authentic love isn't about finding someone who completes you or fulfills all your unconscious needs. It's about becoming more conscious together, supporting each other's growth toward greater wholeness and integration. Why you're loved and desired, Carl Jung.